please don't be intimidated by all the good people in your industry or your class. I wish someone would tell me that technology is so rapidly changing. Even now, I find it hard to keep up with everything that is, emerging, because what you learn the last 3 years might become obsolete soon. So you have to have this mindset that technology is very rapidly growing and you have to prepare yourself.
Hi guys, this is Adrina. I'm the operation manager here at Sigma School, and today we'll be doing a new podcast with a new guest. Very something different, someone who hasn't been at Sigma School before. So this is Syahirah.
Hello. Hi.
If you could give an introduction to yourself.
Okay. Hi, I'm Syahirah. I'm currently a software engineer who has worked around 2 years at a multinational company called Hilti. So I'm also a fresh grad, not quite, only a little experience in the workforce, but I do try to improve myself in the workforce as a fresh grad and becoming a software engineer in this very tough industry and competitive industry is quite hard for a starter. So nice to meet you, Adrina.
Nice to meet you too. Okay, so I have some questions on this phone as well as some info on my paper. So if you see, I'll be on both sides on it. So for this podcast, it'll be a bit different because typically from the ones before, we have those who came from Sigma School and then they transition into the industry. But this time, I reached out to a bunch of people who have been in the industry, who are currently in the industry right now, and have gone through in a different way than like how our students go through. So from your LinkedIn, actually, I looked through. It's a little bit personal.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a stranger here.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna be reading out a bit of like what you've put on your LinkedIn. So from what I see, that currently right now you're a software engineer at Hilti. From what I see, Hilti is more of like they make products for like construction.
Yes.
How does that go with like your current work?
Right. So yeah, usually the first impression of Hilti is that we sell construction tools, all those usual power tools, drills, and all stuff. But what people don't know is that Hilti also focuses on the software side, where they try to be an emerging leader in the construction industry as to digitalize the construction industry. So Hilti do have an IT hub here located in KL. It's called Hilti Asia IT Services. So what we usually do is that we support the business side in making construction better. So simplifying all the processes in terms of inventory, customer service. With all the help of our software and all our IT experts. So yes, we do have an IT hub, and we're not just a construction company. Actually, the construction hub is based in Switzerland and Liechtenstein. So in KL, we only have the IT hub and also all the Hilti stores that sell the product itself in KL.
Right. Yeah. Because I don't think I've ever heard of Hilti before.
Yes.
Maybe. No, I don't think so. And then from I see that you have a degree in software engineer from UTM. UTM is in Bangi, right?
Yes, it is in Bangi. The main campus is in Bangi.
Yeah, I live in Bangi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like UTM is like right behind my house.
Oh, all right. Yeah, it's a really big campus. The main campus there in Bangi.
And then from that, like, how did you decide you wanted to go into like software engineer or like programming?
So actually, my background is actually science. I started as a science student in high school, and it's actually an unexpected decision to pursue in basically the general computer science program, because after high school, I actually wanted to study architecture. So it's very different, and I did went to an interview for an architecture diploma, but I felt like something is missing. And since the start, as a kid, I've always been interested in technology because I asked my dad to buy me the new iPod mini and then the iPhones, and we do have a computer where I like to play computer games, and also on the PS2 also video games. So it has always fascinated me on like the creation of video games. I know deep down in myself I have like a passion in creating video games and software, and I'm also a bit on the creative side where I like to design. So I'm trying to find something that has a balance between creative and logic, just like video games. So I felt like architecture might not be for me. So what I did is I studied in matriculation. So, but I also started in the biology stream, the science stream, and I just couldn't handle biology. I really hate biology. So I just did the decision to change to the computer science stream, which I had no background of. I've never studied computer science. I don't know what coding is about, what all those words mean on the computer. How do someone understand this? But when I had my first class in computer science, which was Java, so in matric, so I started with Java, and the first thing you always do in Java or any coding classes is hello world, right? So what I remember was my teacher told me step by step on how to print out a text, which was hello world. And when I run or execute a program and hello world pops out, I know it instantly struck out to me that, oh, this is so interesting that I can create something based on just lines of words, right? And then it eventually became more complex, from hello world into a tic-tac-toe program or a simple calculator. So I really find it interesting how I can create all these programs, all this stuff, which I could also consider as applications, right? Just by writing a few words, as long as the concept of it, right? So the creation of stuff and also solving a problem there is what really got me into programming, I would say. Yeah.
Right. So like, I'm not sure if you know much of like Sigma School. So basically what we do is we teach our students of how to code from like A to Z. We teach them fundamentals, front end to back end, and then by the end they have to create a project, a web app. And then, but even though we teach them all the concepts and like all the coding, how to do that, we really focus more on like problem solving and logical thinking, because that's what we find is what like the tech industry or like what companies are looking for. Because most of the time when they go into a company, they're not going to start from scratch or make a new code. They're just going to start from like whatever the team already has and solve a problem or how to move on from this. And so would you say like once you kind of started gaming, would you say you're like a gamer then?
I would say gaming is one of my biggest hobby.
Currently right now, are you still gaming?
Yes, I do when I find the time. I used to play games a lot, but once I got into the workforce, it's only after work and weekends.
Right.
Yeah, I do try to find time.
So would you say you're more of a mobile gamer or more of like a PC?
So I started with consoles, so PS2 and then PS3 and then PS4, and then I tried the PC gaming and also mobile gaming. So I would say I play on all the platforms. But in the meantime, I only have time for mobile gaming because oh my god, I find it so tiring to sit on a PC just to play games. I have back problems.
I feel like nowadays people have back problems.
Yeah.
Or like every day I wake up, I'm like, oh, my neck.
Yeah. So I think mobile gaming you can play while you lie down. So.
Right. And then you said that like, when you came into your degree or like your how your career is now, right? You started off with like no interest or no background in computer science, and then once you kind of gone into and start learning, would you say that like, you kind of face problems, or was there like any challenges that you went through?
Definitely. Of course, if you don't have any background in coding or programming, it will all feel alien to you. Like, what is this about? How can lines of codes turn into a program or software? And like, what if you don't figure out the concept of it? You will struggle, in your journey of learning coding, right? So, of course, when I started my degree in software engineering, it's definitely harder than what I did in matriculation because we learn other languages, we learn the concepts of coding, different concepts of coding. We have the back end, the front end, the database, all of stuff. It's just so overwhelming. I had a subject called discrete mathematics, which is like mathematics for computers. So it's like how you would create an algorithm for machines. So it was so hard. So I just felt it was so overwhelming for me. But once I got into the subject of front end, suddenly like changed my heart because like I've said, I've always been on more on the creative side. So when front end incorporates those elements, right, the creative elements in programming, it just instantly like changed my mind. Like, oh, okay, I'm getting it. Okay, this is quite interesting. So I would say that really shifted me. And then when I like something, it will of course motivate me to keep on learning about it. So while doing that, I also try to improve the other stuff, which is backend, database, also, what was it? I had a subject that was really hard. It was technology platform, which is like the hardware stuff, right? So that's something I'm really bad at. So I guess the main challenge was from me is to try to have a steady pace at first, right? So I would say if you need to try to love it if you wanna learn that stuff. So when I discovered this front end programming subject, and also we had the website and the mobile app, which is something that we do and we use on a daily basis, right? It's interesting to know how it gets created, what are the elements that needs to be put together in order to make a complete software. So yeah, that was one of my main challenge, which was to like it. So I forced myself to like it, and once I managed to love doing all of this stuff, and it never stopped me. I never looked back. So yeah, it was one of my main challenge, I would say, to start. So
Right, since you kind of went through the challenges, was there like a difference if from the challenge from the beginning to uni and then to now into your work career?
Yeah, of course. When you practice, it will definitely help you build your knowledge in programming, and over time these challenges will feel like a breeze to you. So when I started out, I was a software engineering student, and I didn't have a laptop. So during my first semester, so that was really tough because I had to do my assignments. Using laptops, you have to code for assignments, right? And then I had to borrow my friend's laptop. I had to go to the library to use the computer to do the assignments. That was really tough, but because to get good, you really need to practice in programming. You really need to familiarize yourself, because I would say coding or programming is 80% hands-on and 20% theory. So you really need to familiarize yourself. It's more like if you practice, you will instantly know what to do when you face the same problems, right? So when you don't have a laptop, it's hard to practice. So I bought myself a laptop using my PTPTN money during my second sem, and then from there I practice and practice and practice, and over time it becomes easier. And then also with the help of friends, lecturers in my university, and then whenever I get stuck, I always sought out help from my team members, from my group members and my lecturers, and it's really helpful when you have exchange of ideas with your friends. So when you don't know something, it's really important to ask questions, because there's no such thing as stupid questions. So from questions, you know the answers, and you won't be asking the same question again. So I would say, if you're starting to learn programming and facing these challenges, it's really important to ask questions and also practice as much as you can. So once you get a few years into your journey of programming, you won't really find the same challenges like you faced in the earlier days. But you do have more challenges, if you try to work on something more complex. But of course, challenges is a really good opportunity for people to learn, right? So if you don't fall, you won't know how to get back up. So yeah, that's how I think it becomes easier when you practice. Yeah.
What was really funny what you said is like most of the time it's 80% doing it, and then 20% of learning.
Yeah.
That's basically what we debrief on like our students. 80% is them doing it, and 20% of us just telling them what to do.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny hearing you say that. And then like I do quite a lot of feedbacks with our students, so I get to learn on like how they decided to go into programming, if they're facing any challenges and what they're going through. And a lot of the times when they're facing challenges, they're just like so demotivated. And I would see like over time we have different batches. Some students would ask quite a lot of questions, some don't. And I just let them know, like, just ask, even if it's like the smallest thing out of it.
Really, people won't judge you. Yeah, people will actually salute you when you have the courage to ask questions. Yeah.
Even it's like the smallest thing of like, where's the run button here? How do I get from this instruction to here? Literally the smallest. Because I feel like that makes the biggest impact on like your journey of like debugging.
Because like if you teach someone to code, you will never. It's so hard to understand when you're just saying it to them, and it's also hard for the teacher to explain like a code. Like you need to show them, right? And they need to do it for them to understand the concept. So yeah, practice.
And from like your LinkedIn, I saw that you did so many projects within like your uni days. Was there like any project that you did that you kind of faced like a really big challenge, and then afterwards you've like overcame it, and you're like you felt really proud afterwards, like until this day?
Yeah. So back in my uni days, I did a lot of assignments, but the project that really struck me the most and I was really attached to is from my video game development class, because as a gamer, I'm always looking forward to learn how a game is developed, right from the modelings, the 3D modelings, the programming itself of the game, and the storyline. It's all included in the subject. And in that subject, I had a project to create a full-length game. Not really a full length, not really something that would last a week, something that you could finish in a day. But yes, it's a 3D video game, so the models had to be 3D. And I really find that project really interesting because this is all very new to me. I've never had experience in 3D modeling, video game programming. We use Unity and C#, so that's the language. So so C#, and it took me, I would say, weeks to finish it because I had to do it from scratch. I had to prepare the models of the game, so all those plans in the grave, pathway, and then I had to find a character for my video game. By the way, my video game is it's called Beyonder. It's like a sci-fi adventure game. So a third person game. So you would control the player in an alien forest, and then you would have to find a key in like an alien temple, something like that. So designing the game itself was hard. It took so much time to place all the assets in the video game, and then the harder part was the programming. So in video game development, you have to play a lot with event triggers. So what that means is that if your character goes into a certain area or do a certain thing, it would trigger an event from that action that you just did. So if you would go into a certain area, a cutscene would play, or a monster would fall from the sky. So that's a big part of video game development. So doing event triggers was actually pretty tough because you had to really know how to code all these the assets. Like I had one scene where she goes into the temple and spiders fell from the ceiling. So I had to code the spiders. I think about like hundreds of spiders, and then I had to make sure the assets don't fall through the floor. I had to put like what is it called? Like a oh my god, what is it called? Like barrier, like a barrier on the floor, because if not, your asset would just fall through. So you need to put like a barrier on the floor so that the spiders stay on the floor, and then you had to make all the spiders fall at the same time. So that was actually hard to debug, actually, to make all the spiders fall at the same time, and then they're also like wiggling their legs. Event triggers was a big part. Also the barriers is also important in video games, so your character don't fall from the map or don't fall through the floor, and then also programming the NPCs. So a big part of the game was dialogues. Actually that was quite simple. So you would just like code that if the player presses the space button, the dialogue would just play, and then some elements in the game involved fighting. That was actually hard to code the NPC to follow you around and attack you, but that project really took a lot of my time and debugging. But of course, with the help of my lecturers, they guided me, and oh my god, I would really like to thank YouTube for helping me all during the project, because when I was in my studies, AI was not really a thing, and then so we had to do it ourselves. So it was very challenging, but it was a fun project. I really loved that project, and from that project itself, I also did my final year project, a video game. I also did a video game for my final project, and after I finished studying, I still continued to do video games because I just love when the game is finished, and I love to see how it turns out, how it is playable, what other people's reaction is when they play the game. So I really love that feeling.
So I'm not much of a gamer myself, but I prefer watching people play games. So like a lot of time on YouTube, I just watch people play games that like include like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye.
Same.
So like sometimes when I watch them play games, there are certain games I'm like, oh, how does that come about? Like some games are a bit more story-like, some games are not, and it's like really like pretty interesting on how like games have evolved from over the years. I think I've watched YouTube since 20 I don't know, since when PewDiePie started his.
That's like 2013.
I think so. Yeah, when he was
14.
still in like living in Italy.
Yeah.
Since then until now. So like the evolve of like gaming.
Definitely.
And like so currently right now you're working at Hilti, right? And I saw before that you were actually working at Moonton.
Ah, okay, yeah. So Moonton is the company of that makes the game Mobile Legends. So in your phone, I think it's quite a popular game. So actually, it's not really a job that was paid. Actually, they paid me in in-game currency. So in Mobile Legends, they have diamonds, and we get diamonds and allowance every month. But that was actually not I would say like a full-time job. It was actually a program by Moonton called Moonton Student Leader, where they seek out students in different campuses and try to promote a healthy video game community in the campus. So I was part of that, and what I did in my campus was organize video game tournaments and workshops, also talks from video game experts like the players and so on. So but from that role, it actually taught me a lot in terms of project management, leading a team, and also managing time when you create a project. When you are organizing a project, of course, there's a lot of elements or stuff that you need to do in a project. So it really, as a student, I struggle in managing my time. So that really helped me in making sure that everything is in place and making sure that everything is scheduled and it doesn't take up a lot of my time with my studies. So that was one of a role, I guess, student role that I took part, which has no relations to programming, but it is related to video games, which I love, and I would say it improved my soft skills from there. Yeah.
So it's from there, like since you kind of went quite a lot more in the direction of like video games or gaming development, how did you end up in Hilti then?
Okay. So Hilti. So in my second last semester, we have the internship semester. So as a normal student, I would go into LinkedIn, type in software engineer or IT internship, and then I actually don't know what Hilti is. So, but it was in the list of an IT intern. It's just called an IT intern. So I didn't know what part of IT was it. But of course, I just tried my luck because I was like mass applying, right? As a student, we don't have a lot of choice, so we try to apply as much as we can. So Hilti called me to ask me for an interview, and it was actually the role of an IT business analyst. So this is quite a popular and emerging role, I would say, in the industry. What it is that you're the middleman between business and technical. So you would gather requirements from business, so what they want in a solution, what they need, how that would solve their problem, and from the requirements, the business analyst would try to design a solution. So this involves also, although this does not involve any coding, you would need a deep understanding of the system, right? Because you need to solve the problem that the business is facing. So you would design a solution that is compliant, that doesn't impose any risk, and that is feasible, and something that won't get the software developers, all stressed, right? So it needs to be feasible, and at the same time, it needs to solve the business problem. So IT analyst requires a lot of thinking, but that was what I did back in my internship. So one of the main software that I used was SAP. So I think this is also quite a popular software in companies, because a lot of companies is basically doing this SaaS, which is as software as a system.
Yeah.
So this is where they would use other softwares to help with their business. So SAP was a big part, and we so it involves a lot of requirement gathering, which actually improved my understanding in the system. But I told my supervisor that I wanted, because since I have a background in software engineering, I wanted to try to delve myself into a more technical role in the company. But so Alhamdulillah, my supervisor managed to get me a permanent position at Hilti, which was back in 2023. So and she also got me into a software engineer role. So yeah, that's how I started at Hilti. Actually, from internships, they have a really good internship program. So where they would really have you involved in their real projects. So you will really be doing hands-on work in the company as an intern there. Yeah. So when I started as a permanent, I already have the Hilti process and knowledge, and also the hands-on and technical knowledge that I got from my internship. So that really helped me when I started out as a permanent employee there. Yeah.
Right. And then when you did your internship, right? Of course, you went through like an interview process like that. If you could share like a bit of like how that went, because for our program actually, by the time they graduate with their certificate, we'll help them with job support. So we help them in terms of with the resume, mock interviews, like how they go to interviews, how they're gonna like, because we know that like once you go into an interview for like a tech company or a tech role, most of the time they're probably gonna ask like how, like what projects you did, how did you do these projects, could you solve this problem that we're gonna give you? Yeah, if you could give a bit of an insight.
So fortunately, during my internship interview, I didn't had a technical assessment or something like that. So that was luck from my side. But I also attended other interviews, right, from a lot of big companies, and most of them also had technical assessments. But these technical assessments, they may be assessing your technical knowledge, but as a fresh grad or someone who is just starting out in the technology industry, technical knowledge is also plays a part, but it's not the main thing that they're looking for, because knowledge is always something that you can learn. Because when you get into the company, of course, the work is tailored with the company, so it might differ from other companies in terms of their technology. So that's something you have to learn when you start out. So, but in interviews, they really want to know how you are like. So, what is your personality, and if you will be a valuable asset to the company. So you could say all this stuff about its technical knowledge, but if you don't have the right attitude when you answer questions in interview, they might not hire you, because from my experience in interviews, you need to sell yourself, but not to the point that people will say that you are arrogant. But I would say the main format when you answer interview questions is that you tell them what you are working with, like if you have any projects or hobbies, freelance stuff, if you just like to play, you just like to mess around with your code, or if you are involved in any small projects that you do at home, and then what is the project is about, and then what actually did you learn from the project. That is something that is very important. It's not just any freelance projects, any programs that you are very involved in, hackathons, competitions, like let's say if you join a hackathon but you didn't win, it's okay. But you just tell them that what you learn from this experience is that you learn how to manage a whole team. You learn how to become a leader, how to manage the workload, delegate the task between your team members. That's something really valuable in a company, actually, your soft skills. Yep. So in interviews, I would say you need to highlight your soft skills, any leadership, teamwork qualities, and if they ask you something that you don't know, please don't say that you don't know that stuff. Like if they ask you any technical questions or any software, you don't have to answer like I don't know, but you can answer something like I am not familiar with this, but I am willing to learn. That's a willingness to learn is the quality that interviewers really value. So just say that you're willing to learn something and you are you are motivated to learn this when you get the job. So yeah, so you don't, in interviews you cannot be so negative, like in terms of I don't know, I'm not sure about it, but you need to add a positive in that negative, right? So if you don't know something, say that you will find out about it, you will learn about it. So in your answers, you need to reflect a certain kind of quality of attitude to the interviews, that you are someone who is willing to learn, is motivated, someone that people that you are good with people and good with teams. So when I learned that, it really helped me during my interview. So you want to make yourself a little bit likable. If you have the technical knowledge, that's really a plus point. But if you think that you are lacking, you need to make up with your soft skills. So that I would say is how I landed this job, because in Hilti they really value your attitude and your personality. So if you show that you are someone that is pleasant to work with, you will hopefully get the job. Yeah.
So like I'll just like kind of relate in a way of like our course. We go through like assessments and tests, and then within those we have our students actually present their projects, because that's like what you've gone through.
Yeah.
Like you have to be able to explain what your project
Correct.
is, what you went through, what challenges, what strategies you went through, and like I would say that majority of our students are like very introverted, very quiet people, and we don't want to push them into like being more outwardly, be more extroverted, but it's just that we want to prepare them for what is to come and like what interviews is going to be. So this is just a good tip for you guys or the students right now who are watching, that like you need to practice these soft skills in order for you to be able to be successful in like the career that you want to go through.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Soft skills are really important. Whether you're trying to get a job, trying to join a program, you can work with something, but if you're not someone that's very likable, or you're not showing that good qualities in your interview, it's tough. So yeah, that's something. Some of the few pointers that I think is really helpful for someone who's trying to land a job or trying to go through these interview processes.
For like uni, like when you were in UKM, was there a time where you were able to kind of learn on how to do like interviews, or like what to expect?
I don't think so. Actually, this is like more of a self-taught thing, skills, because of course you talk with your friends, right? Like, hey, how was your interview? What were the questions that they asked? But when you surround yourself with these people, you will notice that most of the questions are really similar. They might rephrase it, but it's actually really similar. They would usually want to know who you are, what you did, and what you did to improve yourself from those stuff. So in universities, you really need to have your own initiative to practice for interviews, because maybe in your university they have a course for this. I'm not sure, like early careers or communication, all those stuff. I had a communication course, but it's not really specific to interview. But yeah, I would say as a student, in the initiative to learn is really important, because you can't expect someone to push you to learn. So it really needs to come from you, and that's the case for me, because I was really worried about work life after a degree. So I was also an introvert. I think I still am, but I practice on how to talk to people. Took the initiative to learn, to read blogs on interview tips, articles on all those stuff, and also tried to familiarize myself with technical questions, something that people, the interviewers might ask for a fresh grad. So yeah, I would say initiative is the biggest point in practicing interviews. So you need to learn on the questions that they might ask, how you would structure your answers, and also how you would phrase your answers. So yeah.
So we do have graduates who have already graduated from our course, but we have this thing called job search group where they're able to come in and learn of how to do interviews, how to resume, and then we'll do mock interviews as well. And some of them don't come, so please come, because if you heard what Syahirah just said, it's the initiate to learn on how to do interviews is a good thing, and actually going to interviews is another thing. So please come. You have to
Please.
come.
Yeah, it's really useful when you familiarize yourself with mock interviews, questions, because it gets you out of your comfort zone. Actually, it breaks you from as a starter. It's like a good warm up, I would say, before you go into the real one. So if you go practice your interview with your friends, your teachers, your family, it will really help you, because it will get ingrained in your mind on how you would answer the questions.
So I know throughout this whole thing you've already given so much advice on so many different parts of
Hopefully it's useful.
I would say it's really useful, from starting while being a software developer, going from internship to now being a software engineer at a company. I know you said the most, I would say the biggest advice would be just practice or ask questions, whether it's the smallest thing.
Yeah.
Do you have do you wish that during any time of your career, do you wish that you had an insight that you had known when you kind of started?
I would say that I wish someone would tell me that please don't be intimidated by all the good people, all the good or people in your industry or your class. You might feel that you are not good enough as them, because that was my problem. I feel so overwhelmed with all the people surrounding me. It was in I would say in technology, it's a really competitive industry. So please don't overwhelm yourself with all these thoughts. Don't feel that you are not good enough. Everyone starts somewhere. You just have to go with your own pace. Same goes with anything that you want to learn. You just starting to learn, you have to follow your own pace. You don't need to have this mindset that I'm old already, but I still don't know how to code a simple program. That's actually one of the main factors that slowing you down. All this overthinking, right? So I overthink a lot, and it really affects with my motivation. So you just have to remind yourself that everyone starts somewhere, and you're someone who's starting. So you need to surround yourself with positive energy, I would say, with friends, and to keep you motivated. And if you feel happy, then you're happy to do your work, and you're happy to learn. So that's something that was, I would say, a big thing that you might face when you just started learning, right? So also, I wish someone would tell me that technology is so rapidly changing. Yeah. You even now, I find it hard to keep up with everything that is emerging, because what you learn the last 3 years might become obsolete soon. So you have to have this mindset that technology is very rapidly growing, and you have to prepare yourself in involving yourself in these new changes. So it's, I would say, you need to be strong, I would say, and have the initiative to learn with these new emerging technologies, because you can't rely on your knowledge that you learned for the past few years. You have to keep up with everyone. So that's something that I wasn't prepared in the beginning, because I felt like AI is so fast, like it's really evolving so fast, and I start to get worried. So but when this kind of stuff comes up, it forces you to be creative. So it forces you to compete with AI or other people. So you have to equip yourself with the latest technology. But don't be alarmed. You can learn this from different sources, right? And it's just good to know, I would say. It's, just to prepare yourself in case of anything, right? So yeah, so just a reminder, this industry is really fast. So I would say it's best to prepare yourself to take up the initiative to learn the new trends. Yeah.
So like sometimes we do talk with those who are like kind of, so right now our students are in their last module, so they're doing their final project, and sometimes I would ask them like if they're going through any problems or challenges with their project, and they like really feel demotivated because they're like doing it and they're like, oh, there's so much debugging I have to do, I don't understand how I can do this, blah blah blah, blah. But then once I let them know that like, hey, it's totally okay, you're not the only one going through, then they feel a bit more reassured, and they're like, just ask, it's totally okay. And like the fact that a lot of our students do come with like no background, and they sometimes kind of go into the imposter syndrome, that like they're not enough to go into the role they want to. So like your advice of just like go learn, just do it. Just do it.
Yeah, actually enrolling yourself in a class is a first step, right? You want to learn. That's actually a good first step when you feel demotivated, like, oh, what did I come here for, right? You want to learn. So you really don't have to be demotivated. Like I said, you need to avoid yourself from becoming overwhelmed, right? You and surround yourself with positive energy. And I believe in this school, you, of course, you would really motivate your students, right? And try to encourage them to show their best qualities, not just in coding, but in the journey of learning itself. You have to really enjoy and appreciate the journey. Like these challenges, everyone faces them. It's not just you, everyone. Maybe the whole class, your whole class faces them. So you're not alone, actually. And with these challenges, this is where discussions, exchange of ideas, teamwork play a part, right? You surround yourself with these people, and then the problem is solved. Like suddenly the problem is solved. Like like a light bulb comes out when you surround yourself with these people. So you just need to remind yourself you're not alone. I would say I think this applies to everything. You're not the only one who's facing these challenges. Even like the experts, tech experts who has, years of experience started somewhere, right? They might also join a coding class where they don't know anything, don't have any background. So, like I felt demotivated, but I reminded myself that I came here to learn. I took the first step to learn this subject, this course, and I reminded myself that everyone faces this, and this is the best way to learn when you face challenges. Yeah.
And you know how you said like technologies and like trends now go so fast, even if it's not like technology, marketing, fashion, makeup, everything's going so fast these days. How do you stay updated on it?
Honestly, it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. I think technology is implemented into different sectors really fast. It's good actually because technology, the main focus is of course to try to avoid human errors, try to make it convenient for humans when they do their job. And it's not just that, it's not just AI, it's also machine learning, it's also all this, cybersecurity, also emerging trend or topic, and it's important. I would say it's one of the upcoming big hot topic in the future, cybersecurity. So trying to keep up with these latest trends, I think social media helps. All these blogs, articles, discussions, forums. I try to read when I have the time, what's going on in America, what's going on in US, what's Elon Musk is doing. So just try to I try to just keep up to date with what's happening. I don't really go deep dive. Actually, I just try to keep myself informed. But if I see some trend that is potentially rising in the future, then I try to join a webinar, conference, workshop, all those stuff, where an expert tells you about that topic, right? It's really good actually, because you get to have insights from an expert, like what's going on, what's happening, and what is expected to happen. And then if that interests you, then you can deep dive, right? Then you can continue to learn in that topic. So one of the topic that I am particularly interested is actually cybersecurity, and how cybersecurity is important, with all this new technology like AI that might breach certain privacy, that is maybe not ethical. And cybersecurity, I would say, is a really hot topic that I try to get myself involved in. So I try to join webinar, I try to join workshops. So, and also I go into LinkedIn, and there's like some posts that that was written by some expert, and it's actually quite informative. So please utilize these social media platforms for your own good. And also, one thing is people underestimate is networking.
Yes.
So networking is can really help you go a long way, because if you have all these skills but you don't have anyone to acknowledge them, or anyone to tell you what your skill is used for, it's actually useless. So networking, try to surround yourself with people in your industry, in your in your course, and you might learn a few things. It's good. This kind of discussions can be useful in exchanging ideas, and then you might learn a few things from different people, because they might know things different from what you know, right? So networking is really important. So that's why I go into LinkedIn, and I try to connect with all these experts. And then if I have a topic that I'm interested to learn, then just feel free to drop a message, or go into go into and comment in their post. Networking is really important actually to keep up with the latest trends because different people, they might have a different extent of knowledge. So if you feel that you are not really equipped with the latest trends, yeah, that's how you can get to update yourself with the emerging trends. Yeah.
Or just join Sigma School. Because actually we've just recently implemented AI into our course.
Yeah.
So we're really teaching our students on how they can use AI and utilize AI when coding.
Yeah.
So we're not really just letting them like use AI, hey, just put this code, can you solve this for me?
Yeah.
So we really make sure that they understand how did AI come from A to Z, how did they solve this problem from here to there,
Yeah.
and make sure they understand that this is one way that you can go with this problem. But also, within the next few batches of our intake, we're actually still going to implement cybersecurity, and we're going to have actually a talk soon from a company, I forgot what the company is called, that actually we're in talks with.
Okay.
And they're going to have a talk about cybersecurity. So if you like, I can send you the
Yeah,
link
sure.
when that happens. Yeah. Right. So from there, since you kind of started as a you started from as a graduate of a software engineer, then you went into gaming, and then now you're in Hilti, bit more of like programming within the construction work.
Yeah.
How do you see yourself within the next few years in your career?
Okay, that is
A big
common.
question.
That's a
Yeah.
big question. So I still consider myself a fresh grad. I'm only 2 years into the workforce, and sometimes I don't plan for the future. I just go with the flow, and it's okay actually, because when you're just starting out, I think it's important to have a strong foundation in what you're working with. So as for me, I'm a software engineer, and I'm currently working with a system called Salesforce, which is a CRM software that Hilti uses, and it's a lot of elements in there, and I try to equip myself with enough knowledge. So if you have a strong foundation in what you're working with, then you're ready to move up, right? Because you don't want to be a jack of all trades. You don't want to dip yourself in this topic, dip yourself in that topic, and so on. But you don't have a deep understanding in it. So as for me, I don't see myself really anywhere in a few years. I try to have myself involved fully in what I'm working currently. But when I'm ready, I am interested in a role called solution architect. So this is where this role is like where you are I would say the guardian of the system, because you really need a deep understanding of the processes, the development, the security of the system, because people would come to you, and if they want to implement something, a feature in the system, you will be the one to assess it and approve it. So that's something that requires a really deep technical knowledge. Something I might be interested in, because it's actually because to be a solution architect, you really need to equip yourself with technical knowledge and also the business side, the business perspective. Like, will this be good for the business, and is this even required? Like, is this a waste of time? And then, is this compliant with the company? So that's something I am still trying to, maybe a long way to go, but something that I am, trying to target, right? In a few more years, I would say. Yeah.
Okay. So we have what's called like hiring partners. So we partner up with a bunch of like companies who are looking for tech talents to join them. There's a company called Axrail. They do tech solutions. And right now we're actually in partnership with them. They're actually funding, we're doing a scholarship with them where they're funding 3 students for our next batch. And we actually had a student from our course who got to got a job there as what was it?
Solution architect.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it
That's
like,
good.
just reminded me of that. And right now, actually, the scholarship is still open. So if anyone kind of are in the works or have a goal in mind of like being a solutions architect or would like to work at X-Rail, just join the scholarship. There you get funded, you learn here at Sigma School how to do
Good
coding.
opportunity.
Yeah. And then you'll get to work with X-Rail. So like, and then even if it's not just a solutions architect, I think just getting into the industry and having that path already for you if you're not really sure where to go, that's a good way to start your career. So it just reminded me of that.
Interesting.
Yeah. I guess, so this is the last question. What is one thing about the future of programming or software that kind of excite you? So like right now you're kind of thinking about the cybersecurity and all, but like what would you say that's something you feel that you're really interested in, or like what excites you about it is?
Yeah, honestly, in my opinion, I would confess that AI excites me, even though I feel a bit conflicted about it. But AI, I would say, it's like, it was, when you think about it, it was the stuff of science fiction, but now it's reality. So it's like, it really amazes me what technology could do, what humans could imagine they could create. So AI, I could see it can really help other sectors like healthcare, engineering, where AI can be implemented in their softwares or their work processes that could really help people when they do their job. So I'm really excited to see the extent of AI, how far it can go before it destroys us. So, but with this emerging AI that's growing so fast, you can't wait for it to perfect yourself. You also have to compete with that. Like, if you're scared that AI might take your job, then be the one who controls them, right? So getting involved with AI is also a good thing, where you can learn how it works, and then if you know how it works, then you can control it, actually. So for technology or coders or programmers, you don't have to be alarmed, or you don't have to worry about your job yet, because I would say it's maybe a few more years before it becomes into something bigger. But yeah, please do try to equip yourself with some knowledge of AI, which can really help you in the future, because I think AI experts is a role that would be really valuable in the future. And like I said, cybersecurity is also one of the hot trending topics or roles that I would say it's really important to control all of this, right? Because all systems have their security, and it will never be obsolete for security, right? So if you're a coder, you also have to code with your best practices, try to make sure that no one can inject any viruses in your code, right? So if you're just starting out, when you have the fundamentals of code, then you can move out to coding with best practices, right? Coding with safe coding, I would say. And from there, you can slowly learn the concept of cybersecurity. And the world of cybersecurity is really big, actually. Like how they make sure that your program is safe. So I think this is a topic or a role that will not go extinct. I would say it will not go obsolete. So cybersecurity is something that I'm really excited, and how they would implement cybersecurity in controlling all this emerging or AI stuff that might eventually become that might eventually be used unethically, and breaching certain security. So quite excited to see how it goes for technology. It's really fast, right? I try to keep up, and every time I read it, I just become amazed. Like, wow, they can already do that. They can already do that. So so a lot of things, but mostly AI and cybersecurity. Yeah.
I would say I'm a little scared of AI in terms of like, I feel like I've heard cases of like people use AI in terms of what's the word where they only get a picture of a person and they're able to create.
Oh yeah, Gen AI.
Gen AI, yeah. There's a lot of cases of that nowadays. But then with the surge of cybersecurity, and like actually quite a lot of people come to us and ask if there's cybersecurity course.
Yeah.
We're in the works of it. But it's something that, like you said, it's something to look for, and that, like, as you said, you feel that AI, even though it's kind of heading maybe towards a dangerous path, but with the new trend or a new technology or development of like cybersecurity, I would say like only in a few years that it'd be maybe a monster.
I'm like imagining if that one day Malaysia has a law for AI, and then AI experts or security experts would work with police to investigate. That might be possible, right, in the future. So like you're a security expert, and then you're working with law enforcement. That might be a path that we're going towards. Hopefully, because I would see that AI would become uncontrollable one day, and there would be laws like in terms of this inappropriate Gen AI, for misusing AI, right? So hopefully there might be a law for this AI stuff, because it's really dangerous. People could scam you, could misuse using your pictures, and also all those stuff like fraudulent stuff, and right. So I'm foreseeing that there might be a law that would be implemented in our country, and people in that sector like AI and security experts would also like have a new department that is like law, working with law enforcement, so investigation. Who knows, right?
Yeah. I can see you being in that department.
Oh my god, that's gonna be a lot of work actually. Like I don't know, because I don't know how would they limit this Gen AI. Everyone is like, it's like really.
It's like it's a lot, and then like it's not even just like adults or like bad people. It's kids who use it.
Yeah.
So it's such an alarming thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do see what you're like thinking of.
Hopefully, I don't know how it can be controlled, but hopefully it can be controlled, and then hopefully you have more awareness. Like people would have more awareness on the misuse of AI, and then how to use it ethically for AI. But if it's becoming rampant, like people are using AI for bad stuff, then I could definitely see that there would be some kind of law enforcement for AI, and then it would also be implemented with technology experts, security experts in our industry. So it's like would come hand in hand, right? Yeah.
All right, that was all my questions. This is the end of the interview. That was so sad. I feel like I learned so much and had so much insight from you, from the beginnings of how you decide to start, from your game development into going into Hilti, and then now your perspective on like how AI is, cybersecurity, and like what the future holds for people who are in the tech industry. It's a scary world.
Yeah. I feel like if you're in the tech industry, you have so much to look for. It's like it's never the same. Yeah, that's the good thing about technology. Yeah. It's never the same. You have so much. It's either bad stuff or good stuff, but it's always changing. So worth it.
And then from like what I've heard, I feel like I got like the four biggest things to think about and to do. The first one is to learn. always learn, whether with like the new trends, even with like the old trends or whatever you're learning now, learn the fundamentals, keep learning. And then the second one is practice. Always practice. Go to hackathons, do games. There's so many things online.
So many
that
projects.
there's so many projects you can do. Go to Reddit. They always have a project that you can always do, a problem to solve. Do those. Third is ask. Ask anything. So if it's like even here in class, or you're in uni, you're doing diploma, you're online, always ask. Even if it's like the smallest question or the biggest question, you have always ask. And like here also like what I said with like Reddit, you can also always go there.
There's so many communities.
So many communities go to. Forums. And then the last one is network. If you want to get the career you want, or you have a path that you want to go to, always network. Even if it's like you going to webinars or online talks, there, or even like networking within friends as well, it's always the best way. Even if just like putting a small step, if of like just only watching someone doing a talk, you may never know, you're able to like have a talk with them, get your foot in somewhere else that you're actually already thinking of. So those are the big 4 tips that I kind of gathered from like our talk here. Do you have anything else you would like to say, or if you're okay with like them contacting you on anything, or if you want to promote anything?
I guess since Sigma School is a school for everyone who wants to learn coding, like you're welcome, even if you don't have any background, or you're from a different background, you want to try to put your foot in programming. You don't have to be scared, even though if you feel like this industry is a bit scary, a bit competitive, it's really fine. It's really fine. Everyone starts somewhere, and I guess please know that learning is the first step to success, right? And if you have the slightest interest, don't be scared to involve yourself in this industry, in programming, or in any class that you want to enroll. Just go for it. It's really worth it, because this industry is, I would say, high demand industry. It's really good for if you want to secure a job, and if you want a good pay or something. It's really good actually. So you just go for it. You just go to any online classes or enroll yourself with this one, and you will find it really valuable for yourself actually. So and if you want to connect with me, I do have a LinkedIn, Syahirah Izzati. So feel free to drop me a DM if you want to talk about stuff, or just want to have a conversation, or just want to chat. Please do just reach out to me, and I could tell you a few stuff.
So we'll link down Syahirah's LinkedIn down below. That's the end of our interview and podcast. Thanks so much, Syahirah, for coming here.
Thank you for inviting me.
And then thanks so much for giving insight. This is just another of our podcasts, so just stay tuned for any of our podcasts in the future. Or if you'd like to come and get an interview from me, don't be afraid and just ask.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.